How's it going, everybody? I'm your host Kai with Kai Dragon Cooking and Gardening, and it's been a while, but when circumstances happen, you're not able to tend the garden. Things kind of go AWOL, as you can tell, but it's not all bust. So a lot of things have happened to the tomato plants, and these are a combination of aphids, spider mites, and the 100+ degree heat. The shade cloth has helped mitigate a lot of that, but tomato plants do take damage. Because a fun fact, tomato plants were not originally in kind of grassland areas. They were more in the forests in South America. So when the Europeans discovered this, they took this back to Europe, and this is where you had like your Italian foods, your pastas and stuff. They started adding tomatoes to a lot of things, and same with in Spain. So that was a big, rich thing to have, was the tomato plants. So tomato plants have a fun, interesting origin story that they used to just grow wild in the trees and stuff because they're vines for the most part. There was some that were bushy, but we really didn't cultivate the bush type until much later on. I don't know the date, unfortunately, but think of this as in the Amazon, Brazil areas, these growing in the forests, these just growing up and growing endlessly. It's pretty cool. So we're going to talk about a little bit of the damages here. So as you can tell, the plant up here is very healthy. There's just a little bit, but for the most part it's recovering. We have to get rid of the stuff that we know is not going to make it. We can cut indeterminate tomato plants and trim them back significantly if we need to, because indeterminate means that they will continue to grow, continue to produce throughout the whole year. So if you're in the right temperature, you can grow tomatoes all year round. If you're in a climate that gets cold during the winter, you're not going to have tomatoes. But there's also the determinate ones that are bush type tomatoes that are much quicker to grow and to produce, but like this one here is more of your bushy type. This was a determinate. I think this one may almost be toast. We'll see if we can save it. I don't know. Maybe close to where we just put a new Roma tomato or something here, but we're gonna go ahead and cut some of these. So the first thing you want to look at is where the damage is. Most of the damage is here. So as long as you use alcohol, which I've already done, you're going to carefully cut right the plant. And as you can see closely, the damage has been significantly done to this. So it's trying to push production and energy into these dead leaves, these dying leaves, that will unfortunately not recover. Now you can't take too many leaves off, because you'll also harm the plant. But once again, you're not going to get much production here. This is from sun scorching, aphids, and all that. So as we've cut these, we'll also be able to see how we need to anchor it, support it, and make sure it has continuous growth. We won't take too much more from the top for now, but let's go down here. We'll take out all this dead stuff. And sometimes when they get too tall, if it's a shaded area, there's also a factor that you have to consider in the shaded area, that the plant itself just has not been able to get its nutrients, and the bottom parts of the plant will die. So there's different reasons for all this to happen. Unfortunately, there's just not a lot you can do. And then if you look at this one, it's still got some life here. I'm skeptical about cutting too much more on it since it is a bush type. The other thing you want to do is you want to cut these to avoid diseases. Sometimes they do spread diseases, viruses, bacteria. So you want to try to reduce the spread as much as you can. So it's really important to make sure you kind of plan what you're doing. And we still have some beautiful life here. So this may actually be indeterminate because we still have very beautiful, and these things will continue to produce. So no, it's a matter of just kind of going through this. So we're gonna kind of go a little faster here, and so while I'm doing this, enjoy some music, and we'll slam through this, and I'll get back to the show in just a little bit. We've cleared up a bunch of these, took a lot of the dead stuff off. As you can see, we've got a massive bucket of dead stuff. There's some leaves I left on for now until we get some more growth, so I don't want to cut those off. We reposition these so they got more airflow, and they also have more visibility so we can kind of keep an eye on things. And of course, we still got our mantis eggs here that haven't hatched, or they did, haven't seen them. So we still got a lot more to cut, and this is kind of a time-consuming project. So as you kind of go through the process, it'll take you a few hours just to get through this, because you want to be precise. And one other word of advice, this is something that I don't agree with some gardeners. Don't make this compost. Here's why. We don't know exactly if this was created by a virus, a bacteria, or whatnot. That's why we have to sterilize these. We don't want to put this back in the ground. So I advise just throwing this away in a normal landfill bag, just because it's too risky, in my opinion, of contaminating the rest of the soil. So that's one thing that I will definitely differ on when it comes to that. And just make sure you know what plants you're cutting. If they're determinants, you have a finite amount of room, but for these that are determinants, they can keep growing upward as long as they get the right nutrients, and we'll have a lot more tomatoes throughout the year versus all at once. So if you have any questions about care for tomatoes and taking care of this, definitely ask in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We have more gardening videos coming out, and then we'll also do a video later this week showing how much we've changed the garden as far as clearing the bad stuff and how it looks afterwards. So stay tuned for that video, and talk to you real soon. Bye for now.